Welcome to Camnet TV Main News. I am Precious Mzea. Sakaleji, headlines. The PF shoots blanks on former Finance Minister FELIX MUTATI over FDJ University SAGA. Judge Joshua Banda challenges his dismissal by President HH. Former KASAMA Central Member of Parliament denies obtaining money by force. In international news, President Ramaphosa urges vaccine purchased from South African maker. And in sports, Zambia beats AZERBAIJAN by 3-1 in UEFA Under 16 games. Join me with the details after this commercial.
Are you a married man or woman? Are you encountering challenges in your marriage? Are you planning to take your marriage and love relationship to higher levels? Your business platform is all set for you as a couple. You are invited to attend Zambia's first love, business and marriage conference. Amid these uncertainties in the economy, higher divorce rate in the world, plan to be one of the most successful couple in Zambia. Date 28th May 2022. Time from 9 hours to 16 hours. Participation fee 1,200 kwacha per couple. Lunch inclusive. For registration, payment can be done through MTN mobile money on 0962 965 883 or 0979 753 010 for Airtel Money. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International. Speakers, Professor and Mrs. Catherine Munkumba. And your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chilo. This is a must-attend conference. Plan and make a date with us. Your lives, marriage and future will never be the same. Remember, we are born for greatness. Book for your seats by calling 0962 965 883. See you on the 28th May 2022.
Your love always brings me back. And now the main news in detail. Controversy has persisted in the construction of a shopping mall on the disputed portion of land between the Presidential Housing Initiative (PHI) and the Great East Road in Lusaka by a named Chinese developer. Area concerned resident and member of the Patriotic Front, Jano Dangwira, says the continued construction goes against the laid-down construction conditions by authorities. Ms. Dangwira cites security issues that the project possesses to the residents, given that the mall is too near to the residential area, among other pending issues. Earlier, Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development visited the site and halted the construction activities, challenging the company to meet all construction requirements raised by the stakeholders. Meanwhile, efforts to get the view of the company proved futile by broadcast time.
Works at the controversial proposed shopping mall between Lusaka's Presidential Housing Initiative and the Great East Road are underway, attracting unrest among the residents of PHI. Since its inception, the tug-of-war between the residents and the named Chinese developer has been due to the fact that this piece of land sits under the electric cables for the power utility company, in addition to it being too close, just few meters away from the residential area. Authorities such as the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development earlier visited the site and ordered construction activities, challenging the company to meet all construction requirements raised by stakeholders such as the Road Development Agency. Friday, one of the concerned residents, Jano Dangwira, narrates that, regardless of the warnings from the authorities, the company seems to go ahead with construction of the mall.
And we appreciated government for that. There are quite a number of breaches that the developer did, and he was given a lot of conditions to which he did not meet. One of them was that these cables should be buried down so that the safety of the people as they come to shop is guaranteed. And also, if you look at the meters from the community to where the mall is, I think you are able to tell that the safety of the residents is not guaranteed. Now, we are worried because all of a sudden, the Ministry of Local Government, with all these other stakeholders like ZEMA and all that, wrote to the developer to say, no, now you can go ahead to start constructing. Unfortunately, all the conditions that they were given have not been met. So the question to the President, His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema, is what has happened for the ministry to give a go-ahead to the developer to continue building without meeting the conditions.
Mr. Ngwira has since called on the powers that be to intervene in the matter.
Finally say, if they are so desirous to continue building this more, disregarding the conditions. We ask the president to also give us a go-ahead as a community to guard our community. We put up a wall fence so that when the mall is done, nobody is going to disturb us to be moving in these roads to come and have their business at the mall. Instead, they should be using Great East Road, because as a community, we are not going to allow lawlessness. We are not going to allow people that maybe could have connived with a developer to infringe on our rights as a community.
Meanwhile, efforts to get the comment from the company proved futile by broadcast time. Alex Shimba, Camnet News, in Lusaka.
Recently fired Lusaka High Court Judge Joshua Banda has petitioned the Constitutional Court challenging his dismissal by President Hakainde Hichilema from the office of a High Court judge. On the 6th of May 2022, the head of state fired Mr. Banda for mischievous behavior in the execution of his mandate. His firing followed the recommendation in the report presented to the President by Judicial Complaint Commission. However, in his petition, Mr. Banda wants an interim order to stay in the decision made by the President to remove him from the office of Judge of the High Court and record the latter's patent which constitutes him as a High Court judge. He further wants a declaration that the justification of the JCC to hear complaints against judges does not extend to matters that happened prior to a judge's appointment to the office of the judge, as the same is a preserve of the President, Judicial Service Commission and the National Assembly. Mr. Banda also wants an order quashing the President's decision to accept the recommendation of JCC to remove him as judge and recalling the later patent that constitutes him. Former Patriotic Front KASAMA constituency Member of Parliament Kelvin Sampa has refuted claims that he owes a company trading in Konyagi spirits and alcoholic beverage 1.4 million kwacha. Mr. Sampa has been sued in the Lusaka High Court by Salehu Mbaruku Sengulo and Mbaruko Trading Limited on the allegation that he obtained 1.4 million kwacha monies from the plaintiff, which were meant to be paid to the Zambia Revenue Authority as default payment, but he paid himself as commission. Meanwhile, Thursday, the Zambia police arrested Mr. Sampa for allegedly obtaining money by false pretense from the said companies.
Just few months after joining the ruling party, Kelvin Sampa, a former PF KASAMA constituency Member of Parliament, seemed to have a lot on his neck. The former lawmaker, who is currently facing a civil lawsuit before the Lusaka High Court, has denied allegations advanced by a company which supplies cognac spirits that he allegedly paid himself as commission 1.4 million kwacha instead of paying the Zambia Revenue Authority. The lawsuit was commenced last month by Baruku Trading Limited and its managing director, Selei Baruku Senguro, and it is now demanding that Mr. Sampa pays it the said monies. The company seeks that the court orders Mr. Sampa to pay damages for inconvenience, mental anguish, and stress caused to them as they had to source the amount payable to ZRA when the said money was misappropriated by Mr. Sampa. However, in his defense, Mr. Sampa states that he confirmed that the track and consignment of Mr. Senguru were impounded by ZRA and that the same were impounded because the plaintiff were unlawfully invited to pay tax on the consignment being imported into Zambia from Tanzania, and the same were to be forfeited to the state. He submits that he managed to negotiate for ZRA to agree to assess the alcohol consignment that had been seized, and ZRA agreed to allow the plaintiff pay over 1.2 million kwacha as duty, but there was an agreement between the plaintiff and him to pay the sum of 1.4 million kwacha to the ZRA and that he retains the difference as his fee. Meanwhile, Mr. Sampa is likely to face criminal proceedings before the subordinate court following the decision by the said company to get him arrested. Yesterday, May 12, 2022, police announced that it had arrested Mr. Sampa and charged him with an offense of obtaining 1.4 million kwacha from the said Mr. Baruku on pretext that he was going to help him have his goods, which were impounded by the Zambia Revenue Authority. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Non-governmental organizations say the arrest of former Patriotic Front Member of Parliament Kelvin Sampa, who recently defected to the United Party for National Development, will act as a warning to those who think rejoining the ruling party is insulation from prosecution. In an interview, Zambia Youth Association in the fight against corruption, board chairperson Mr. Rickson Kanema says the gesture indicates the fight against corruption is not selective. Zambia Police Deputy Spokesperson Danny Mwale on Thursday confirmed the arrest of Mr. Sampa for the offense of obtaining money by false pretense amounting to 1.4 million kwacha.
Zambia's political scene has been a beehive of activity since the victory of the United Party for National Development UPND in August 2021, as it has seen a number of activities. Just like in successive governments after a change of administration, a number of political officials, especially those from the former ruling party, have changed camp to join the ruling party. Among them is former Patriotic Front PF KASAMA lawmaker Kelvin Sampa, who recently announced his move to join the UPND.
Your Honor and the National Chairperson, Batila Takoni Kekala, Ineni Mtamwa Kwisa ku UPND. Kuno KASAMA na Northern Province na chitenga kani. My coming here, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. There are so many who would have wanted to be here today, Your Honor. But we will not disappoint you. We shall work hand in hand to support you, to support the party, to support His Excellency the President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema.
The Zambia police has, however, moved in to nab the former KASAMA lawmaker, now turned UPND member, on charges of obtaining money by false pretense amounting to 1,400,000 kwacha. This has elated corruption-based non-governmental organizations who say changing camp to the ruling party is not a shield from prosecution against wrongdoing. Alliance for Accountability Advocates Executive Director Mr. Luchembe Chilufya was speaking to Camnet News.
The manner in which our politicians behave, where they want to seek refuge in a ruling party, for example, if they were in the opposition and when a party in power comes in, they want to join the party for them to maybe run away from the corrupt practices that they were involved in. I think the law enforcement officers should not take sides when they are looking at issues of addressing issues of corruption or addressing criminal activities. Whether one is in the ruling party or they're in the opposition or they've decided to defect from one party to the other.
Meanwhile, Zambia Youth in the Fight Against Corruption board chairperson Mr. Rickson Kanema has shared similar thoughts.
So this is a wake-up call to all the Zambian people, and even those in the former regime, Patriotic Front, who might have, abused their powers while they were there, and they think of joining the current ruling party with the hope that they are going to be protected and shielded from persecution. So let us ensure that we are very accountable, even to those who are in the ruling party, to ensure that we follow the law whenever we are doing something, because illegality does not help at all.
The UPND administration has indicated that it is on a crusade of restoring the rule of law in the country, guaranteeing investigative wings independence. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Operation Young Vote Executive Director Ges Nyirenda has advised politicians to stop taking Zambians for granted by steering what he termed as unprincipled politics. Mr. Nyirenda was reacting to the move by former United Party for National Development, Mbabala constituency Member of Parliament Ephraim Belemu to go back to the UPND, a party he had accused of turning into a monster. He has since advised the UPND leadership to distance Mr. Belemu from the decision-making positions of the party.
The defection of former United Party for National Development, Mbabala constituency Member of Parliament Ephraim Belemu from the PF back to the UPND has taken social media by storm, as people are now questioning the sincerity of politicians. Most governance experts and members of the general public have been pointing out that the move is eroding public confidence in politics, considering that they are the ones who run various governance institutions, where people make delegatory remarks and later go back to their vomit, and not new in Zambia.
No one who's going to shake me, and I'm not going to go. Because I have seen how much Zambians are suffering. Exactly. And there is no way I am going to join PF, I want to assure you. All those all my supporters, I want you immediately to resign from UPND and rejoin Patriotic Front PF.
It shows you that at any given time, the UPND has a higher chance, assuming that's where you're going to get the senior officials that will serve government, has a high chance of picking a crook than any other political party. My effort away from the PF to the UPND.
Operation Young Vote Executive Director Ges Nyirenda says despite Mr. Belemu exercising his freedom of association, the move paints a picture that most politicians are not principled.
Fools. And look, we don't want to continue on the trajectory where the politicians begin to think that they can jump from one political party to the other as it fits them. And for us, it's confirmation that the man or the comrade is only interested in being close to the ruling party. I mean, we know him to have been in the UPND for long, and he is such a very brilliant MP. He's such a very brilliant individual. But what was difficult for him to have allowed it that he continued in the opposition with the UPND then. Why couldn't he persevere? Now that others persevered and they won the seat, I mean they won the elections, and he wants to begin to say, no, now they are good. He actually castigated the UPND left, right and center when he was being welcomed by the PF.
He has since advised the UPND leadership to distance Mr. Belemu from decision-making positions of the party.
UPND, yes, he has come, welcome him. But look, have a distance, give him a distance. He should be a UPND member who is distanced from the decision makers, because such people are a problem and they will cause you problems. You will never know what he wants to bring to the UPND now. So he must be distanced so that he learns a lesson. In fact, maybe even for the whole period when the UPND is leading for the next 5 years, he should just be distanced until the next election. He must do work for the UPND to retain power. That's when he can be considered. Even then, he must be given some lower positions where he learns a lesson.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Minister of Technology and Science FELIX MUTATI has distanced himself from the Frederick Titus Jacob FDJ saga, saying he was no longer a Minister of Finance when FDJ University payments were done. In a statement availed to Camnet News Friday, Mr. MUTATI has however revealed all amounts that lead to the total of 33 million United States dollars in question that happened in February, April and June 2018 2018 when he was dropped as Minister of Finance. On Thursday, the Patriotic Front Central Committee challenged Mr. Mutati to give his side of the story on the FDJ saga.
Since revelations hit the media on the stalled construction of the Frederick Titus Jacob FTJ University, a number of stakeholders have given their perspective, while most pointing fingers on the previous administration of squandering the alleged $33 million. It is due to this development that civil society organizations in Luapula province have held protests demanding for answers.
We want money! We want money! We want money! We want money! We want money!
However, during a press briefing held Thursday in Lusaka, the opposition Patriotic Front have categorically put it on record, washing their hands clean, claiming that instead of pointing fingers at them, the man who has the answers in this FTJ saga is the current Minister of Science and Technology, Mr. FELIX Mutati, who was the minister in charge of finance while the transactions were made.
On to other ministers of finance. The other two ministers of finance are no longer in government. But the Minister of Finance, who was there at the time when this contract was being entered into, is fortunately part of the current cabinet. Felix Mutati was Minister of Finance in 2016. He was Minister of Finance in 2018. He stopped being Minister of Finance in 2018 when he was moved to Ministry of Works and Supply. If these transactions were taking place at the time that he was Minister of Finance, surely can't he simply go to cabinet and explain that, look, in this contract money was paid but that person interfered and took this money? Can't he do that?
But in a statement averted to Camnet News Friday, the Minister Felix Mutati has clarified that the payment of FTJ University followed his removal as Finance Minister, as evidenced by the letter from State House dated 14 February 2018. The minister has also revealed it was after his removal that first payment was made of about $8 million on 28 February 2018. Furthermore, other payment followed of $8 million in March, another $8 million in April, and the last payment in June of 2018, bringing to the total of $33+ million in question. To answer the question, to who was the payment made, the minister has revealed that it was made to the China Energy Engineering Group. While this information has been brought to light, one would ask when the Anti-Corruption Commission will institute investigations on the aforementioned company to answer to how the money was split. Camnet News will monitor this issue to its logical conclusion. Alex Shimba, Camnet News, in Lusaka.
The governing United Party for National Development UPND disclosed that it has managed to mobilize resources meant to empower party officials in different business disciplines. Speaking at the launch of the Seed Productivity Support Business Workshop in Lusaka Friday, UPND National Chairperson Stephen Katuka says instead of giving money to the participants, the party has instead decided to procure various seed productivity packs that will serve as startup capital. Mr. Katuka says 75 families have so far been engaged in the training and that the party, working with Natsev Bank, has devised a strategy for tracking the progress on a regular basis. Meanwhile, Social and Economic Empowerment for Development Seed Cooperative Union Managing Director Simeon Kampata has implored participants to take the training seriously.
Over 75 families comprising men and their spouses Friday gathered in Lusaka to attend a training organized by the United Party for National Development UPND. This is in an effort to reward party members who have worked hard to ensure that the party got in office in August of 2021. The UPND National Chairperson Stephen Katuka, who officially launched a seed productivity business support workshop for the 75 families, says after finishing the training, the families will be empowered with startup capital to venture in different businesses.
That has abandoned us. We can't abandon you. We know where you are and we know what you are going through. Instead of giving you money for you to venture into various businesses, we as UPND have decided to procure various seed productivity packs that will serve as startup capital.
Mr. Katuka says in order to realize the benefit that comes with a strategy of equipping and empowering the members adequately, the party has hired a firm called Social and Economic Empowerment for Development Seed Cooperative Union to train the members so that enough business and entrepreneurship capacity is built.
This arrangement, like I've said, is meant to empower the household. So when you are out in the field, I know most of you go out for campaigns or by-elections and so on, you know that at home, your home is safe. That's why we included the wives in this program. We don't want you to be in Mongo and you are calling me, Chairman, me, my home, there is no nothing.
Meanwhile, SEED Managing Director Simeon Kampata encouraged the participants to ensure that the knowledge they will acquire is put to use for a longer period of time and not stop when they begin to make profit.
Going forward, should they need any technical assistance in the area of how to run a business, as Social and Economic Empowerment for Development, we will always be available to provide any kind of support that is needed.
Meanwhile, partner representatives from SARO and NatSafe Bank also took time to encourage the participants on the importance of the program.
Start from scratch, and like this empowerment that the party is giving, we are pleased to be with you, and we have packages that we can offer to you, and we are also promoting value addition.
We have realized that for you to acquire assets, for you to produce, for you to develop, for you to grow in your business, you need financing. You can't just develop it now. You need money to develop. So we have designed very good products that we'll talk about.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Government has reaffirmed its commitment to enhance investment and creating a conducive policy environment and optimize the operations of the mining sector. Addressing the media Friday afternoon, State House Press Aide Anthony Walia disclosed that government is determined to deepen the level of local involvement of the mining sector. He says government will formalize and enhance the capability of small-scale miners to boost their levels of investment in the mining sector. He reiterates that small-scale miners need to be brought on board for the sector to thrive as well as the country's economy. Meanwhile, Mr. Walia says the investment by First Quantum Mines in the Kansanshi mines is the largest foreign investment in Zambia that will increase productivity levels.
This project will create thousands of jobs, and its impact will be felt across the country. I'm going to spend a bit more time just talking about some of the benefits that we envision will come online as a result of this mega investment by FKML. Now, we believe that on the production side, production is expected to go up by as much as 135,000 metric tons by the year 2030. Now, to put this in context, that is about maybe 20,000 metric tons per year or year on year between the years 2023 and 2030. It is also expected that this new investment will up the contribution of the mine to our GDP by 2.3%. Which in real terms is around about over $1 billion between the years 2022 and 2030. Again, this growth in GDP is what naturally will translate into more and better creation of job opportunities, not just across the mining sector, but across other sectors of the economy.
In other news, Community Development and Social Welfare Minister Doreen Mwamba has expressed confidence that the strategy being used to remove children living on the streets will yield positive results. Ms. Mwamba says speculations by some stakeholders that the strategy will fail are unfounded as the ministry is making progress on the issues of street children in the country. Meanwhile, the minister has handed over 21 vehicles to support the rollout of supporting women's livelihood, social cash transfer, and the girls' education and women's empowerment and livelihoods projects.
Minister of Community Development and Social Welfare Doreen Mwamba on Thursday toured the streets of Lusaka to ascertain the living condition of children living on the streets. Despite such efforts having been made in the past, some sections of society have questioned the effectiveness of the move to permanently remove the children living on the streets. The minister has, however, watered down remarks that the initiative will fail and has expressed confidence that the program will be a success no matter the circumstance. She says progress has been made as safe homes have been identified, and all things being equal, the narrative will not be the same.
This time we've changed the approach. We are engaging them, and we are going to do an assessment as to who goes where, who wants to do what. For the young ones, most of them want to go to school. So we are looking at school places. These are boarding schools where these young boys and girls can go. We are also looking at safe homes for girls, especially those who are pregnant, that they are placed in these homes. So the approach is different. It is not a one facility fits all like in the past. We are identifying and we are asking them what they would want to do. And that is why we are very confident that we are getting nearer to resolving this problem, because they know what they want to do in their lives.
Meanwhile, 21 vehicles destined for 10 provincial social welfare offices have been officially handed over to the provinces by the minister, which she says will help roll out empowerment projects countrywide. Ms. Mwamba sits on the premises that the vehicles will effectively help enhance the Girls in Education and Women Empowerment and Livelihood project.
And then we also have Keeping Girls in School. Despite my government introducing free education, we still have children who are not going to school for various reasons, and mostly girls. So these girls, under the JUO program, the projects that we just witnessed, handing over the vehicles downstairs, supports young girls to make sure that they go back to school. We buy them uniforms, and we buy them books and other requisites that they may require. Program, we have noticed that just giving poor, vulnerable families one payment or one facility as social cash transfer is not enough. So when they are on 2 or 3 programs, that will indeed help alleviate poverty.
Empowerment projects that are targeted at empowering citizens in the country still remain key drivers to poverty reduction and the country's economic growth. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News.
The Media Institute for Southern Africa, MISA, has urged media practitioners not to withdraw legal cases against harassers in order to send a strong message to would-be offenders. Speaking to Camnet News after a media training workshop Friday, MISA board member Elizabeth Chanda says withdrawing these cases has many implications, as it will create a culture of media harassment in the country.
Even in democracies where media freedom is guaranteed, journalists are not guaranteed freedom from harassment at the hands of suspected abrogators of the law, especially when trying to expose wrongdoing. While having the role to inform, the media also has the duty to offer checks and balances to various sectors of society, just like other players in the governance circle. Doing this, however, does not sit well with those on the wrong side of the law who often choose to harass journalists. Are you being violent to me? I got your police. I'm a journalist. Please, I'm a journalist. You can't stop me from doing my job. While some cases see the inside of a courtroom, many of them are withdrawn for various reasons, among them outside settlement in monetary form by the perpetrators. The Media Institute for Southern Africa, MISA, however, says withdrawing these legal cases leads to a continuation in the culture of media harassment. Speaking to Camnet News after a media training on the same Friday, MISA board member Elizabeth Chanda says this is based on a research conducted by PNP advocates.
The reason why you take people to court is because you want redress, okay? And in this case, where journalists are harassed and they take a matter to court and the matter is not is withdrawn, what results from there is that the perpetrators do not learn a lesson, first and foremost. So it will mean that these perpetrators could easily come back and pursue the matter. Secondly, one of the issues that was brought out in the presentation that it robs the media fraternity from allowing the court to set precedents for some of these media violations, for the quantum of damages that can be awarded to the media in the event of any violation or damage to property and all those things. So it is just important as media that we should be able to exercise our legal rights and protect ourselves and the profession at large.
Meanwhile, MISA Director Mr. Austin Kayanda says the media should connect themselves to relevant media bodies, as these will ensure that all legal fees are catered for in case of harassment.
We have other legal funds from Chapter 1. We work together. That money came from USAID, but all the money, the SAGA money and the USAID money couldn't sit on one account. So we decided to give it to Chapter 1. And if at all there is need for bigger representation, we can engage our friends who are Chapter 1 and so forth. I hope that we are going to benefit from this and also encourage each other so that our endangered profession is not put to the line.
A free press is an essential component in the survival of any country's democracy. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We take our first set of commercials. We'll be back with more after this.
ZAMBIA. Save nations, develop Africa. Connecting African countries to each other and connecting the African continent to the world. This logistics and global supply chain management group offers end-to-end solutions across all sectors of the economy: agriculture, energy, telecommunications, finance, construction, transportation, and insurance. And now, its initiatives are greener than ever, operating in line with government guidelines and working to provide energy security for Zambia and beyond. 25 companies united under one group and one vision. ZAMBIA. Trade and logistics made easy.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry.
There's so much data.
Mom?
Yes, baby?
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Are you a married man or woman? Are you encountering challenges in your marriage? Are you planning to take your marriage and love relationship to higher levels? Your business platform is all set for you as a couple. You are invited to attend Zambia's First Love, Business and Marriage Conference. Amid its uncertainties in the economy, higher divorce rate in the world, plan to be one of the most successful couple in Zambia. Date 28th May 2022. Time from 9 hours to 16 hours. Participation fee 1,200 kwacha per couple. Lunch inclusive. For registration, payment can be done through MTN mobile money on 0962 965 883 or 0979 753 010 for Airtel Money. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International. Speakers, Professor and Mrs. Catherine Munkumba. And your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chilo. This is a must-attend conference. Plan and make a date with us. Your lives, marriage and future will never be the same. Remember, we are born for greatness. Book for your seats by calling 0962 965
883. See you on the 28th May 2022.
Thank you for staying with us. We continue with the rest of the main news. The Zambia Congress of Trade Unions at CTU has complained over the high cost of living in the country despite the government making tremendous progress in reducing the country's inflation rate. Speaking at the Tripartite Consultative Labour Council meeting held in Lusaka Friday, ZCTU President Chishimba Nkole says there is need to urgently put up measures to contend the growing challenge. And Mr. Nkole has emphasized the need for the creation of new jobs. Meanwhile, Minister of Labour and Social Security Brenda Tambatamba says her government is working at turning the economic wheels of the country to better the needs of the workers.
Country's development, the level of productivity is a most fundamental aspect in all sectors of the economy and an important factor to determine people's standards of living. My ministry has continued turning the wheels of this country's economy around through productivity promotion in the workplace. Industrial productivity has it that an employee is not only asking for improved wages, but on how best they could contribute to the growth of the enterprise, the workforce, and ultimately this should bring about the recovery to our economy through their individual and collectively their enterprises added together. The value will turn our economy around and eventually get to a point where it starts to impact on our livelihoods, on their livelihoods, on the cost, on the high cost of living, as has been pointed to before by the other speakers.
Sweden International Cooperation Senior Statistics Advisor Jonas Bergström says accurate statistics are vital in the development of the country as they border on real facts and not speculations. Speaking to journalists in Lusaka shortly after the close of the training workshop on Statistics in Action (STAC) for members of staff at the Zambia Statistical Agency, Mr. Bergström says there is need to equip officers with information on how to accurately gather and disseminate statistical data. And Zambia Statistical Agency ZAMSTA's interim statistician General Mlenga Msepa says with competence enhanced among ZAMSTA's staff, the agency will be able to improve performance and produce quality statistics that are key to the country's development trajectory.
Partnership is a cooperation done between Statistics Sweden and ZAMSTAT, and it's supposed to go on for about 5 years. And the purpose of this is to support ZAMSTAT in producing better statistics, relevant statistics, timely statistics, and statistics that can be used to make good decisions based on fact, not just on feeling. You need to have good statistics to make good decisions.
Again, you cannot rule out the importance of knowledge. Training has to be continuous, and this is why we should actually applaud the government of Sweden through SIDA and the project itself, that they are with us in ensuring that we up our skills. Countries will stop developing once people stop acquiring new knowledge. Even at our own level, we have to make an effort to acquire new knowledge because we're in the field now. You can have a PhD. That PhD may only be relevant some 10 years back because the information that you were given kind of 10 years back. But over time, the difference between the developing world and the developed world, one of the differences is the knowledge base.
The Emerald and Semi-Precious Stones Association of Zambia has called for the strengthening of regulations in the emerald industry, stating that the country is losing colossal amount of revenue due to smuggling. In an interview, Mr. Kalesha notes that most investors in this sector are not motivated to invest in the country as they can still access emerald through other means. He notes that one-way regulations can be reinforced is by introducing mechanisms to trace the source and destination of emerald.
We want to appeal to government to introduce a mechanism where there will be tracing back of the emerald from where it was produced from and where it is going to. So in short, we are saying there should be certification if we have to attract investment into this sector, unless we regulate it to some extent where there will be no loopholes of smuggling out of these emeralds. Of course, some people feel it's one way of survival, but I think in everything in the country, you should do the right things if you are able to gain anything in the long term. And I also would like our government to prioritize empowering of the small-scale miners in the country, because so far we only have a few producing emerald mines, which is Kajama and Grizzly Mining. And for government to earn much more revenue from this sector, they need to empower the small-scale miners by introducing a revolving fund and the procurement of equipment that would be able to be on hire to support the small-scale miners. I think the potential is there, but let's also be able to prioritize the empowerment of the small-scale miners with policies that would be able to be conducive to the level of a small-scale miner. Thank you.
Government is scheduled to relaunch a 10-day COVID-19 vaccination campaign in Solwezi, Northwestern Province on the 14th of May 2022. The Vice President Mtalena Lumango will tomorrow flag off the relaunch of COVID-19 vaccination campaign. Government has since implored councillors and traditional leadership in Zambia to relaunch the COVID-19 vaccination in their various areas.
Vice President Mtalena Lumango is scheduled to relaunch a 10-day COVID-19 vaccination campaign on the 14th of May 2022 in Solwezi, Northwestern Province. Minister in charge of Health Silva Maseo revealed this information during the routine COVID-19 update in Lusaka. Ms. Maseo says the campaign will be done in a multi-sectoral approach to be spearheaded by the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development.
We are in an effort to increase the number of vaccination among our people, going to set up or going to run 2 10-day vaccination campaigns in a multi-sectorial manner. The campaigns will be set 4 weeks apart to allow for completion of 2-dose vaccines and boosters for those required.
The country targets to meet 70% vaccination rate by June 30th, 2022, like other countries, so that the measures for COVID-19 can be relaxed.
In Zambia, all the councillors in all the various wards of Zambia will be expected to ensure that their communities are mobilized and get vaccinated in the next 10 days starting from tomorrow. This also means that all members of parliament will be expected to participate and launch the vaccination campaign drive within the boundaries of their constituencies.
Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
We'll take our second set of commercials. Coming next is international and sports news.
We welcome you to the wonderful world of Savenda Electronics.
At Savenda Electronics, we pride ourselves in manufacturing high-quality electricity and water meters.
Boasting of the first of its kind state-of-the-art manufacturing plant in Zambia, ZAMBIA Electronics manufactures customized smart electricity and water meters of international standards for both the local and international water and electricity utility companies. Our highly computerized factory, run by qualified staff, makes, calibrates, and electronically tests the smart meters to ensure only those meeting customer specifications are delivered to the market. Some of the main features which come with our meters includes notifications about low units, tempering, low battery, and many more customized features. ZAMBIA Electronics provides on- and off-site after-sales service and has favorable contract terms for water and electricity utility companies. ZAMBIA Electronics, the real deal.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is number one when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes, and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Are you a married man or woman? Are you encountering challenges in your marriage? Are you planning to take your marriage and love relationship to higher levels? Your business platform is all set for you as a couple. You are invited to attend Zambia's First Love and Marriage plus Business Conference. Amidst uncertainties in the economy, higher divorce rate in the world, plan to be one of the most successful couple in Zambia. Date 28th May 2022. Time from 9 hours to 16 hours. Participation fee 1,200 kwacha per couple. Lunch inclusive. For registration, payment can be done through MTN mobile money on 0962 965 883 or 0979 753 010 for Airtel Money. Venue: The Healing Word Ministries International. Speakers: Professor and Mrs. Catherine Munkumba. And your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chilo. This is a must-attend conference. Plan and make a date with us. Your lives, marriage, and future will never be the same. Remember, we are born for greatness. Book for your seats by calling 0962 965 883. See you on the 28th May 2022.
Your love always brings me back.
Getting into our international item, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has urged donors and countries to buy COVID-19 vaccines from African manufacturers. Ramaphosa made the remarks while addressing an international meeting on COVID-19 on Thursday. Last week, South Africa's Aspen Pharmacare, which won a deal to package and sell the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, said the plant risks closing down after failing to get a single order. In other news, meanwhile, Finland looks set to apply for NATO membership after the Prime Minister and President said it must happen without delay. It is in a dramatic reverse by a country that has long relied on its own military strength to remain neutral but prepared. That Finland shares a 1,300-kilometer-long border with Russia, and since the war in Ukraine began, Finnish support for joining NATO has gone from about 25% to approximately 76%. Russia is already calling Finland's NATO aspiration a threat. Here's a roundup of international news.
South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has urged donors and countries to buy COVID-19 vaccines from African makers. Ramaphosa made the remarks while addressing an international meeting on COVID-19 on Thursday. Last week, South Africa's Aspen Pharmacare, which won a deal to package and sell the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, said the plant risked closing down after failing to get a single order. The Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said it was doing everything it could to prevent the facility from shutting down. The plant was hailed as a trailblazer for Africa, which remains the least vaccinated continent. Johnson & Johnson vaccines also have a reputation problem. In April of 2021, South Africa stopped administering the drug after it was blamed for causing blood clots in adults. The African Union's goal is to produce 60% of all vaccines administered in Africa by 2040, up from the current 1%, and several such plants are being set up. Plants will also be set up in Kenya, Rwanda, Egypt and Senegal. Most African countries are relying on donations to vaccinate their populations.
Neutral but prepared, ready to defend their nation that long relied on its own military strength. These Finnish conscripts are practicing an attack by an imaginary enemy. But since the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Finland, which shares a border of more than 1,300 kilometers with Russia, feels threatened by its large neighbor.
Obviously, it's shown that our neighbor is willing to use force if necessary, and that changes things.
Before the war in Ukraine, only around 25% of Finns supported joining NATO, but this has now gone up to 76%. A dramatic change in a country that was invaded by the Soviet Union in 1939 and made an agreement to stay neutral after the Second World War ended.
Thanks very much, Putin. You made it. You made it. So obviously, we politicians, we are living in representative democracy. We must respect also the people's opinions, and that's where we are.
The Social Democrat Party MP was one of Finland's staunchest opponents of NATO membership. Not anymore. It's a huge turnaround for many in Finland, believing for decades that staying neutral is key to their security. They now say that Putin's actions have pushed them towards NATO. While Russia has made it clear it's not happy with this decision and that it will react, the Finns just hope it won't retaliate. Joining NATO means Finland will be protected by its Article 5, saying an attack on one member is an attack on all. But it's the grey period of a number of months before membership is formalized that worries the Finns. While the UK and other countries have offered security guarantees, the Finnish president is trying to reassure Russia.
In my thinking, this is quite simple, actually. We increase our security and we do not take it away from anybody.
I'm almost sure there will be no major issues, some political disapprovements, etc., etc. That's true, but no aggression. So I'm not actually afraid, because I still trust a little bit that also in Moscow they have brains.
That's also what the young soldiers are hoping for.
I think if we were part of NATO, then there would be so much backup. So no. I'm not scared.
Having a well-equipped army of nearly 300,000 soldiers, Finland says it will be an asset to NATO. While these conscripts are looking forward to working together with other nations, joining the alliance will put an end to a long and peaceful period of neutrality. Step Fasten, Al Jazeera, Helsinki.
We'll now get into our sports story. Polo under-16 have beaten Azerbaijan in their second encounter in the ongoing UEFA under-16 International Development Tournament. A game that started at 15 hours in Rustavi. Luketekelo Kapoa scored in the 72nd minute, whilst Edward Mwale scored in the 26th minute. Zambia topped the group with 4 points, 2 better than host Georgia. Georgia's next month is against Azerbaijan on Monday, and a loss for the host will confirm Zambia champions. Well, that sports item brings us to the end of Camnet TV main news, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. The PF shoots blanks on former Finance Minister FELIX MUTATI over FDJ University SAGA. Judge Joshua Banda challenges his dismissal by President HH. Former KASAMA Central Member of Parliament denies obtaining money by false pretense. In international news, President Ramaphosa urges vaccine purchases from a South African maker. And in sports, Zambia beats Azerbaijan by 3-1 in UEFA Under-16 games. Our Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of Proverbs 31, verse 30, and it reads, "Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised." Thank you for watching. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Pleasant viewing.